have so many movies. I mean, 50-50 is the one that we're here to talk about, but I mean, like, don't you have to start shooting Lincoln soon? Is that true?
Yeah, that's starting soon, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Period.
Yeah, I'm really excited about
Like the
Period.
oldest son of Lincoln?
Yeah, Robert Lincoln.
Is it a big part?
It's a great part.
That's the important thing.
Yes.
What is it exactly? Kind of, can you talk about it at all?
Not really. I've been asked not to talk about it much, unfortunately. I apologize.
And then when I ask you about Dark Knight Rises, you're not going to be able to talk about that either, right?
It's true. It's a funny thing. Well,
but you get to work with Gary Oldman, right? You're playing like a beat cop.
Yeah, I love Gary, man. He's my favorite kind of actor. Gary and Christian too. You know, like the guys that disappear into their characters or just become somebody else. That's my favorite kind of acting.
Do you think you do that?
Yeah. I wouldn't presume to compare myself to Gary Oldman or Christian Bale, but I like to when I do a movie create a character that's, you know, unique and different from other characters I've played or different from myself.
Yeah. Now this one, what's really tricky about it is that you guys are trying to tell, in effect, a true story. You're doing a character who exists or did exist, Will Reiser, the writer, but obviously it's
exist.
Fictional.
I saw him today.
He's still with us.
Yes.
So it's fictional, and Seth Rogen's really playing himself.
Yeah, he's playing a version of himself. Yeah.
So how do you negotiate that? You know, where somebody's saying, you know, well, this isn't what really happened, or you know, how do you?
Well, Will's a screenwriter. It's not a biopic. So the point wasn't to be like journalistically accurate. The point was to make a movie about how it felt for Will, and that's what we did. And I think it's a really honest story, and that's why it's funny, because I think a lot of movies that are about such a serious subject matter maybe walk on eggshells and are too timid or unwilling to admit the fact that even in the darkest times there are hilarious things that happen, and that was Will's experience, and that's the script he wrote, and that's the movie that we made.
The thing that really touched me the most, because like most people my age, I mean, eventually you do start to face your mortality. Something happens. You have an operation, or you're alone in an operating room or something. What you got was the loneliness of it. And how did you figure that out?
Jeez. Well, the loneliness.
You lose your girlfriend. You know, you're kind of bereft. You don't want to go to your mom.
Yeah, I would agree entirely, and I think that's an astute observation. I don't think I intellectually isolated that as something I was going for. Like, I want to hit the loneliness here, per se. But I definitely was thinking, in those moments of the story that you're talking about, like, well, I don't have any, like, I don't have somebody to call. I wish my girlfriend was here, but she's not. And then she's not there at all, and then and the relationship with the mother is strained, and yeah. So I think you're absolutely right, and I guess having a condition like that nobody else has, and everyone wants to empathize, but no one really can empathize because no one else is really.
Well, the point is this guy's really young. I mean, it wasn't Will, like 24 years old when this happened.
Yeah.
So, in one of the videos you put up, Seth Rogen so memorably puts, that you're unprepared for this. I mean, you get to be much older, you experience a lot more death in your life.
Right.
Have you had to experience any death in your life?
I had a friend of mine die of cancer when I was 18. He was 19. And, yeah, it was terrible. And there's actually a little dedication to him in the credits.
I'm sorry.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it sucked. But I remember when he was going through it, there was plenty of times we were laughing. And I don't know, that to me is kind of one of the takeaways from 50-50 is that that's okay to to laugh, and they say laughter is the best medicine.
Well, part of what he's dealing with too, it seems to be, are masculine issues. Like, you want to talk about that? I mean, he wants to get laid.
Sure, who doesn't? And that whole game sucks whether you have cancer or not, and is full of trials and tribulations and bullshit in every which direction. So throwing being sick with a terminal disease is just another variable. But I love this movie's take on the whole meat market dating game. What it is to be single and trying to have a love life in our culture. It's fucked up. And I think most movies really simplify it. And either you have the guy who can't get the girl or the guy who can. And either you have the hot girl or the not hot girl. And those are the four types in general in kind of conventional Hollywood storytelling. And I like how 50-50 is sort of like, because the truth is human beings don't fit into those types. And in 50-50 the characters also don't fit into those types, and it's unexpected, and that's, I think, why it's
But it
funny.
rings true, is what's good about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's its great strength.
Yeah, it's honest. Yeah.
Honest. That works
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah.
But Hollywood movies tend to avoid it for whatever reason.
The good ones don't.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, 500 Days of Summer is another example of a movie that rang true.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a romantic comedy that kind of reinvented romantic comedies. And this one has an element of romance, with
For sure. For sure.
which I liked
Yeah,
as well.
and I think, honesty, I think that's why people like Chris Nolan movies. Because even though they're these huge action movies, he's very intent on maintaining an honest core in all the moments and all the performances, all the characters of his movies.
Well, you got to reunite with so many of your Inception buddies on this one.
Yes, indeed.
I was, why not? Why not use the best actors you like to work with? Do you get to be do a New York accent or anything like that?
I can't tell you.
I'm so bad. I'm so bad. Anyway, did you have to shave your head? That looks like it was real. Clearly.
Yeah, it was very real.
How did that feel?
Oh, it's great. It's a great way to. We started the shoot that way. That was the first day of shooting that we did that. And it's like jumping into the deep end. There's no turning back once that has happened. And it's really great. Normally when you shoot movies, there's always the take two. There's always the possibility to do
This
it
is
again.
the ultimate live
But
thing.
this was it was more like a play. It's like we have one chance to do this, and so they rolled two cameras, and we did it. It's exciting that way. It's like you got the heart going.
You can't mess that one up.